Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and decode the blueprint for one of the most critical, most in-demand roles in all of tech, the cloud engineer.
I mean, have you ever really thought about it? That invisible magic that keeps our entire digital world running? You know, how your favorite streaming service just works? Or how all your work files are there for you anytime, anywhere?
Yeah, it's not magic. It's a real person, a pro, working behind the scenes. They're the ones architecting the very foundation of all the cloud services we pretty much take for granted every single day.
Okay, let's dig into that. That's a powerful statement, right? And as we go through this, we're going to break down exactly what it means to build these efficient, reliable, and totally secure systems. So first things first, let's get a really clear definition down. What exactly is a cloud engineer? And what part do they play in this huge digital ecosystem?
Think of it like this. If a developer writes an amazing novel, that's the code. The cloud engineer is the one who builds the entire library. They set up the security system, manage the lights, and make absolutely sure that anyone can come in and read that novel whenever they want. They literally build the entire world for that code to live in.
And here's the thing, it's not about mastering just one skill. As you can see, the role is this fascinating mix of different talents. It's got deep technical stuff, sure, like deploying infrastructure and scripting, but it also demands some serious business smarts, like managing costs and working with teams. All right, so what does a cloud engineer's day-to-day actually look like? Well, we can pretty much boil it down to 4 main areas of responsibility. This is their core toolkit.
So this table breaks it right down. It all starts with cloud deployment, setting up the virtual computers or containers where the app is going to run. But to do that, you need the infrastructure. These are the private networks, the VPCs, and the firewalls that create a secure boundary. Then you've got networking, which is all about managing how data gets in and out, using things like DNS for addresses and load balancers to handle all the traffic. And finally, you wrap everything in security, using things like IAM policies to control exactly who can do what.
Now, a really crucial idea here is the VPC, the virtual private cloud. Imagine a huge public cloud like AWS is a giant ocean. A VPC is like your own private, secure island in the middle of that ocean. You control everything that comes and goes. It's really the fundamental building block for all security. And if we dive a little deeper on security, it's all about understanding the different layers of firewalls. Think of it this way. A security group is like a bouncer standing right at the door of a single server, checking IDs and deciding who gets in. A network ACL or NACL is more like the big fence around the entire property. It controls traffic at a much broader level. You absolutely need both, but they do different jobs, and knowing that difference is key.
Modern cloud engineers aren't sitting there clicking buttons all day to build servers. Come on, that's way too slow, and you're just asking for mistakes. Instead, they write code that builds the infrastructure for them. This is the automation engine.
They do this using tools for what's called infrastructure as code, or ISC. Now, some tools like Terraform are multi-cloud, which means you can use the same code to build on AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud. Others, like CloudFormation, are built specifically for one provider, in this case, AWS. But the main idea is to create these reusable, version-controlled blueprints for your entire system. This means you can rebuild your entire digital world in minutes. Push a button and know it's going to be perfect every single time.
And this automation is also how they get new features out to you, using what's called a CI/CD pipeline. It's this continuous loop. See, it starts when a developer commits new code. That automatically kicks off a build, then a bunch of tests. If it all checks out, boom, it's deployed live to users, and then it's monitored constantly. This is the engine that lets companies safely release new stuff multiple times a day.
Okay, so building the system is one piece of the puzzle, but a cloud engineer also has to be its guardian, making sure it stays secure, stable, and cost-efficient 24/7.
Security isn't just one big lock on the front door. It's all about layers, a principle we call defense in depth. You defend the outer edge, then the internal network, then you control who has access, then you protect the app itself, and finally, you encrypt the data. The idea is, if one layer fails, another one is right there to catch the threat.
To keep everything stable, engineers are pretty much glued to their dashboards. They're watching technical stuff like CPU usage, but also things that affect you, the user, like how slow an app is or how many errors are popping up. And one of the most critical metrics they watch is MTTR, mean time to repair. When something breaks, how fast can they fix it? The goal is to always drive that number down.
And we can't forget about the money.
The cloud bill can get out of hand fast if you're not careful. A huge part of the job is being a detective for savings, hunting down and deleting idle servers or automatically shifting old data to cheaper storage.
So let's look at a real-world example of this cost puzzle. A cloud engineer is always facing this trade-off. Do they go with reserved instances where they commit to a server for a few years and get a massive discount? That's great for predictable work. Or do they use spot instances, bidding on spare cloud capacity for huge savings, but with the risk of getting kicked off at any moment? That's better for jobs that can be paused. Making the right financial call here is a massive part of the role.
So, where can this exciting, really challenging role take you? Let's take a quick look at the typical career path for a cloud engineer.
A lot of folks get their start in a support or admin role, just learning the ropes. From there, they move up to engineer, then senior engineer. And that path can eventually lead to becoming a cloud architect, the person who designs the high-level blueprints, or even to top leadership roles like a chief technology officer. And climbing that ladder, it's really all about a fundamental shift in how you think. You go from just implementing the rules to actually designing the whole architecture. You go from knowing one cloud really well to mastering several. But most importantly, you shift from just reacting to problems to proactively engineering systems that are so tough, so resilient, they never fail in the first place. And this quote just nails it, right? It's not about firing up a server here and there. A great cloud engineer is an ecosystem builder. They create this whole environment, reliable, secure, and cost-efficient, where a business can truly thrive.
So, the blueprint is clear. The demand for skilled architects of the cloud has never been higher. These are the people, quite literally, building the digital infrastructure for our future. The only question is, are you ready to be one of them?